Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Rezeal deck profile for post the August 2025 restriction list. With the latest restriction list, we had some changes for the Rezeal deck, focusing on the fact with this restriction you can no longer run Faded One of Miracles Rezeal and Sargon in the same deck. So for the Rezeal deck, the Sargon has to go, sadly. We knew this was going to happen eventually, and we finally had the big change done to English format. So look forward to some changes to other decks as well with these changes, starting off with Rezeal since it is the main deck that I use for the format with the Divines series. So with that change, just moved a few things around, but always like to keep you all updated for the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for starters, for the ride deck, we have the Energy Generator, with our starter being Wings of Aspiration Soel. When rode upon, if you want second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Patrol of Gusts, Fantesta. When rode upon by Great Knight of Advance, Ascensior, you call this card to rearguard and soul charge 1, just replacing what this card was originally in the soul for you to use. Our grade 2 is Knight of Great Advance, Ascensior. When it's rode upon by a grade 3 card with Rezeal on its card name, choose one grade 2 or less card from your drop, call it to rearguard. So just more setup for whatever you may have discarded off of your hand for the ride deck cost, with our grade 3 being the Faded One of Miracles, Rezeal. Along with the copy in the ride deck, we are running the 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. When it attacks a Vanguard, you can counterblast 1, choose up to 2 cards from your drop with different grades, and total grade less than or equal to the number of cards in your damage zone, call them to rearguard. And the Divine skill lets you Soul Blast 1, return all critical from your drop into the deck, shuffle it, it gets drive +1, and then the option when you damage check reveals a trigger other than a heal. If it's you have 5 or more cards in your damage zone, and you damage check that other trigger, you perform a heal, and then you lose this ability. So it's the miracle play that Rezeal is meant to do, just giving you that extra heal option, especially with the criticals, is how they always portray it in the anime to be done. The evolved form of the Faded One is the Faded King of Miracles, Rezeal Vita, along with being able to gain plus 5,000 for every Faded One of Miracles Rezeal on your soul, and gaining all of their divine skill as well. It's also regarded as a Vanguard continuous, Faded One of Miracles, Rezeal. And when it attacks, being able to counterblast 1, choose 2 cards from your drop with different grades, total less than or equal to the number of cards in your damage zone. And then you can put a grade 3 card with Rezeal on its name from your hand to the soul, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop, call it to rearguard. So you'll get the additional 3 cards called on top of the different grades with the first original 2, and then the same grade can be called with the additional card you call off of the put into soul skill with Rezeal. Other grade 3s include the 2 copies of Blessed Dragon Gabuelius for the rearguard drive check options, and the added power plus as well. Along with the plus 10,000 power, you can just add the additional pressure with a divine skill Vanguard that you use with your Rezeal. All it has to do is be placed by the skill of your Vanguard with Faded One in its name. So very, very useful for the Faded One lineup with this grade 3 especially. For the grade 2s, 3 copies of Divine Sister Biscotti, just one of the better cards to discard off of the ride deck, because then you can counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3 and draw a card, and then having the added option for being able to, when it's placed on rearguard, if you Persona Road the turn, Energy Blast 3, Counterblast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it on the top of the deck, put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. So it's set up, but mostly you're going to use Biscotti for the added guard and discard option to Energy Blast or Counterblast just to draw you cards. And then we're also running 3 copies of Knight of Gentle Beauty Nobia. Now, some of the grade 2 options may mix around depending on how many copies of Refistor you want to run as well. But Nobia just gives you the plus 10 power when soul charging, when soul blasting, when it attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. And then being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from among them, call it to rearguard, and then put it into your hand if this is called during the battle phase. So you can just set up more of your rearguards thanks to this one as well. And the 3 copies of Knight of Bowstreaks, Nabarris, for the added put into soul option by Energy Blasting 3, then drawing a card, looking at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or bottom of the deck. So set up for your drive check or knowing what is next to come from the top of the deck, so you at least maybe can even have a trigger on the top of the deck to then be able to perform Rezeal's Faded One of Miracles Divine skill. And when it's placed on rearguard by your grade 3 or greater Vanguard's ability, it gets plus 10. So then you have the added plus 10 power for this unit to be able to hit. If you Persona Road, it's a 30k attack on its own as well. we are running the 2 copies of Mythish of Miracles Refister. Now, this could be a 3 or 4 of count. If you wanted to mix around some of the grade 2 counts, you can drop down the copies of Nobia. 4 additional copies of Refister. When it's placed on rearguard, counter +1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 3 or greater card with Rezeal on its card name from among them. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle the deck. And if you do not reveal a card, countercharge 1. This is great going with the King of Miracles, because then it can give you the card to put into the soul if you've already Persona Roam that turn when you placed Refister, because then you could just have the grade 3 ready to put in the soul for King Rezeal's ability. And when it attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal on its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 to the end of battle. And if it was placed on rearguard by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal on its card name, and your damage zone is 4 more cards, it gets plus 10,000 instead of plus 5. If it gets plus 10, it's the 5th battle this turn. Your opponent cannot call Sentinels from the hand of the guard circle. So added restriction using this Mythish of Miracles Refister for that added play. For the grade 1s, which are the biggest change in the deck since we no longer are running Sargon, 4 copies of Knight of Strixpear, Severus, when it's placed on rearguard by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal on its card name. Soul Blast 1, all your front row gets plus 5 until the end of that turn, so added pressure with this grade 1, and at the end of the battle it boosted if it was placed by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal, bind this unit and draw a card. So just draw power on top of the plus pressure to then be able to clear out some of your rearguards for the additional calls that you may be able to use as well. The 3 copies of Gragon for the added countercharge power in the deck, along with the plus 5 if your unit was placed by the ability of your Vanguard Divine Skill, which will mostly be done all the time, and then just having the added option to retire this unit and countercharge. So you do counterblast a lot in this deck, so being able to make up with it with Gragon always does come in handy. So you don't even have to call this card out. It's just if your unit was placed, this unit gets that ability. So if you have to call out Gragon normally, then you'll have the option with another rearguard to be able to call out and still have this unit get the plus 5 and countercharge option. And then also the 2 copies of Knight of Perspicacity Catalyst. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal, choose one of your units, it gets plus 5 to end of turn. If it was placed by your Vanguard's ability, it gets plus 10 instead. Added pressure to increase the power of your unit as well. Choosing one of your units, you can even choose Rezeal for this initial power up as well. And from the back row rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rezeal on its card name, it gets intercept and can intercept from the back row. So added defense for a 5k shield. The increased number of the Silveris and the Catalyst make up for the Gragon count in the deck. And lastly, the 1 copy of Aerial Sage for the added countercharge power, and then just additional boost power for Rezeal to provide with this card also. And then lastly, for the grade 1s, just the Sentinel lineup, so the Elementaria Sanctitude, and the 3 copies of Sethlon. For the trigger lineup, we're going with the 8 criticals, so we have the max capacity for recycle power in the deck with the Faded 1 of Miracles, the 3 copies of Protection Magic Perobi for added draw power in the deck, just to draw into some of the more needed cards we need as well, a 4 heals being the Bringer of Distant Sounds Uranus, and then the over trigger in the deck just being our Valnute for the added restand power for additional rearguards also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I wanted to update this just because I knew the changes for the deck were around the corner after Knights of Rebirth. So with it, we have the changes done to remove Sargon with the deck and what to play with now for those added changes also. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.